Greg Simons is a professor at the Institute for Russian and Eurasian Studies at the Uppsala University. He joins us now live from Sweden. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World, Professor. Now, apparently, diplomacy has not resulted in anything that could possibly de-escalate tensions in eastern Ukraine. So tell me, is a Russian invasion of Ukraine likely at this point?
Well, first of all, it's been a facade of diplomacy because whereas Russia has put forward a certain proposal, the West has ignored it. So this is, once again, it's a facade. It's not an actual dialogue. It's a monologue. And you see a very large discrepancy between what different parts of the Kiev government say. Because you've been focusing on the what Zelensky and what the foreign minister have said, but the defense minister of Ukraine has come out and categorically said the West should stop hyping a conflict. So a conflict is not inevitable, but it's more likely so long as this war talk, this battering up the idea that a conflict is inevitable. Well, that does increase the chances that something which no side will benefit from occurs.
Professor, let me ask you, if it is the West which is hyping the conflict, then why is Russia reportedly sending more military reinforcements to eastern Ukraine?
There are two reasons. One, which is a display for the West. The other one is to match what the Ukrainian military is doing in Donbass, because little has been said, but the fact is that at least half of the Ukrainian army strength is in the Donbass region. So, I mean, this is an issue because what we have here, there are some similarities if we go back to 2008. You have this background of the Olympic Games coming up. You have these, and then you, as a background, but you also have this conflict looming, which no one wanted, and Saakashvili, who was pressured at the time in his domestic politics, as Zelensky is now, who used the opportunity with the thought that the US was going to back him, went to take back South Ossetia. And of course, we know where that went. So this hopefully is not going to be a repetition of the summer of 2008.
Okay. Now, Professor, you mentioned in one of your earlier responses that the West has largely ignored Russia's demands at this point. Let me talk about one of those demands. For example, Russia demanded that NATO forces retract to pre-1997 deployment. This demand only makes sense if Russia does the same as well and withdraws its forces from eastern Ukraine, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, neither is going to happen because you can't really take back membership of those countries which have joined NATO from 1997. So, I mean, I don't think this is something which is too realistic, but the point is that it's put forward as a point of negotiation to work at an agreement from that point. It is an opening gambit, if you like. So this is how I would read that rather than as a solid demand.
All right, Professor Greg Simons, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.